Is it on? Oh, there we go. Good evening, you two. So the past few days, after paying attention to the reaction from the DNC email leaks and the convention itself, I've had to mull over a tough decision. Unsurprisingly, due to blind party loyalty, clear stupidity, or fear of Trump, most Democrats who are Bernie supporters are backing Clinton even after the DNC leaks. Shockingly, so are a lot of gays and lesbians. And why is that so shocking, you ask? The DNC leaks did not only reveal bias against Sanders, it revealed a flippant, homophobic culture within the DNC. I personally was able to find 2 emails in particular that I was led on to by a news article that show a witch-hunting attitude and the attitude that gays are property within officials within the DNC. So let's have a look at these emails, and if you're having a hard time seeing them on the screen, you probably want to put your video on full screen, by the way, but if you're having a problem seeing them still, then I've supplied links below to the original documents. First off, we have an email exchange between Jordan Kaplan and Scott Comer. This is how it reads. Kaplan: Doug Hathaway is definitely gay. He swims for the gay and lesbian team in DC. Comer: Totes, he gives me daddy vibes. Now, if you don't see anything wrong with this, then I think there's something wrong with you. Speculating on someone's sexuality like that behind your back is your basic form of homophobia. It conveys that you're either uncomfortable with gays or that you believe that being gay is negative, and thus an effective label to insult someone with in a pejorative manner. They also went as far to associate him with a humorous-sounding group that may or may not exist and that he may or may not belong to. Personally, I've not taken the time to see if there's a DC gay and lesbian swim team, because that's besides the point. Their attitude conveys that if there was a DC gay and lesbian swim team, that there's something wrong with being a part of it, and thus it makes a good insult in their minds. The next email is equally offensive, not just to gays, but I think African Americans should be offended by this sentiment too, because it shows a unchanging attitude within the party. It's another exchange between the same individuals. Sadly, I wasn't able to go and find other emails in the news article because I was only looking up the ones by these individuals. Anyway, here's the way it reads. This one is from Comer to Kaplan again. Comer: If he's a good day, he'll love that this pic is with Kathy Griffin. Then correcting himself. Comer: Good gay, asterisk. This exchange quite possibly could be the worst, and harkens back to the Democratic Party of the 1800s. Not that it really has changed a bit since then under the surface, just on the top. This just shows the prevalent attitude of the DNC that minority voters, and in this case gay voters, are their property. They essentially believe that we are their slaves. And this email asserts that they get to define what is a good gay and what is a bad gay, and that someone who doesn't fit their definition is a bad gay. It's just the same as when Democrats were pushing for slavery back in the 1800s, and they had their good slaves who listened well and got to live in the house, and the bad slaves who they had to whip and put in the fields. And these days, their idea of whipping is whipping your reputation in the media. It's honestly just another way of them punishing people they view as their property, who don't obey them, and rewarding the ones that do obey them like good little sheep with a title that they created. I mean, it's downright offensive and terrible, I mean, this really shouldn't surprise me, but it does shock me. There are apparently other exchanges too about chicken salad made of chicken anus, and people blowing each other meant as a derogatory statement. And you know what? This is what the DNC has always thrived on behind closed doors. Hate and ignorance. This is the party that supported Jim Crow. This is the party that voted against the 15th Amendment that gave African Americans the right to vote. This is the party that started a whole welfare system because, in the words of their leaders, LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, he wanted those N-words to vote Democrat for the next 50 years. This is the party that still divides today. So I shouldn't be surprised. Anyway, though, you can guess what my hard decision is based off the title of this video. Honestly, Trump is terrible too. Trump is the antithesis of all my morals, as is Hillary. But Hillary is just that little bit worse enough for me to actually, absolutely, positively not want to see her in office under any conditions. I feel like I would rather vote for an evil that is out in the open and less innocuous than one that hides itself and acts self-righteous. I mean, at least Trump apparently believes in preserving gun ownership rights, and after the incident in Orlando, I'm firmly of the mindset that gays with guns don't get bashed. I mean, I really don't want to vote for Trump, but the alternative is a woman who openly said that she believes marriage is between a man and a woman, and who belongs to this party that rigs its primaries and makes these homophobic remarks behind closed doors, and has this mentality that gays and blacks and Latinos are their property, their voters, and we're not anybody's property. We are human beings. The only thing, honestly, that could really save me from this decision is a surge in support for Gary Johnson, which I don't, at the moment, see coming. There's like a surge, but not as big a surge as would be required. I mean, he is, however, the only third-party candidate on the ballot in all 50 states, and he's better than Hillary and Trump. You know, so maybe that surge will come. But, you know, he's definitely more honest, and 100% not a homophobe, but honestly, at this point, I have to believe a protest vote for Johnson would essentially be a vote for Hillary. So I feel obligated to vote for Trump to make sure that monster doesn't get in the White House. I don't know, though, if Johnson gets in the debates and turns things around. He's on that ballot, so maybe I can be spared from this decision. Maybe later this year, in September or October, he's going to have such a big swell in support that the media has to take notice, the nation has to take notice, and maybe I can confidently put my vote behind him. You know, and maybe I can be spared from this decision that I really have not wanted to make, period. At this point, honestly, I'm going to wait till October and see how Johnson's doing in the numbers. But I resign myself to the fact that most likely I'm going to have to vote for Trump on November 8th. Because voting for Hillary as a gay person is just betraying your entire sexuality. You know? It's going to kill me on the inside to vote Trump. But it's better than the homophobic, racist alternative. I guess we'll just have to see how the next 3 months play out. Anyway, this has really upset me, you know, in my stomach, so I better go take some antacids. And, I guess that's it then. Good night.